Get this party started. Okay, I believe we are officially live, and if that's the case, we should get Kishin, if you would check for a notification and make sure we're live.
I will. Just a second. It's still got the reminder.
Alrighty. Let us see. Bam, 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 dun, 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 dun. I should really have some elevator music playing while we check this shit, but I never do. We're so unprepared for this. If anybody can hear me yet,
I don't think so because I'm still not seeing anything.
Okay.
It's saying it's live, but there's like nothing. Or maybe it is. Wait, I can hear you. So yeah, I think it is live, and I'm just being a dumbass.
Okay, well, if that's the case, hey everyone, this is Griever here, bringing you guys the latest live podcast with my boy Kishin Prime, our weekly Manga Roundup podcast. So, sorry for that shitty intro. Kishin, introduce yourself.
Greetings. Well, I can't call you Quiche-lings. I'll call you Grievelings.
That works. Alright, so of course there is some series that are on break this week. We do not have any Kingdom. Keisha and I both noticed this before we began the stream. There is no Kingdom. A couple of my monthly series did not come out. There is no Shokugeki no Soma Le Dessert. There is no Akatsuki no Yona. There's no I don't know what else. There's very. This podcast should be a little more condensed, and I think, Kishin, you were also telling me before we began that you didn't read nearly as much this week.
Yeah, I only have like 11 series to talk about.
Only 11. Well, shy of a dozen. So for those of you who didn't catch up with our latest podcasts, as I've said before, we alternate each week. So Kishin does the odd numbers, I do the even numbers. But Kishin usually, if he's below a dozen manga series in that week, well, then damn, something happened. Either Kishin must have been sick in the hospital or something, because he's always reading up to 15 series.
Yeah, I read a bunch of random stuff, and a lot of times it's just whenever it updates, you know? It's not always weekly. Like, Fire Force didn't come out yet, and let's see, some other stuff. And there's like a couple series that it's like, there's not much to it, and I don't really care to talk about it.
That's true too, and don't get anybody wrong here that we don't necessarily talk about every single thing that we keep up with or read necessarily. It's just the things that we
be here all day.
Exactly. So it's just the things that we feel like talking about, of course. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Kishin, why don't we start off with, of course, Seven Deadly Sins, one of the main draws of both of our channels. So, take it away with chapter 319, The Unforgivable Deadlock.
It was an improvement! Yay!
Well, I mean, polish a turd, it's still a turd, but I mean, at least it's polished, right? So...
Well, I can put some lemon pledge on it, and at least it don't stink.
Exactly. So there was nowhere really to go but up, I think, over the last couple of chapters. So, but that being said, what did you think? There was a couple of sections really to talk about.
Well, it's good that we're getting like this look back to how the two brothers, react or interacted with each other way back in the day. Like we've gotten like little glimpses of that, but I don't think it was quite this relationship.
Right.
So it's interesting how they've kind of flip-flopped over the millennia, I guess you could say. And it's just like, I didn't think Zeldris was going to be like that. You know, when you first meet the guy, he's like dead-eyed, just, I'm here to kill kind of person. So it's like, for him to be like, hey, bro, you want to talk about stuff? Not what you expected from the guy.
No, not at all. But one thing I want to note is a lot of people have been talking about how he has bright eyes in these flashbacks and stuff. And it's something very strange because we always took, like, if you notice, Meliodas has his demon mark activated, and that's when he gets the dead eyes. Zeldris, same way. Like, every time Meliodas has gone demon mark, he gets the dead eyes. The same thing that Zeldris has had for the majority of the series, demon mark or not. But here we're seeing him without said dead eyes, and he doesn't have his demon mark activated. See, I always took the dead eyes as part of the demon mark activation, but if we recall, when Zeldris was first released, he still had these black, soulless dead eyes that we've been calling them, with no demon mark activated. So the cold, callous attitude of his brother clearly affected him to the point of pushing down his emotions, getting stronger and stuff. But I felt like this was going to be their relationship, because we had hints of it, as you pointed out, Kishin, that Zeldris felt this way about his brother for a long time. He respected him, he looked up to him, and when he took it as a personal attack or insult when he abandoned them. Not just for the reasons of the clan, but to him personally, because he was his ideal person to look up to. So we know for a fact that Zeldris would almost behave this way, and we all also know that Meliodas acted like a total, well, dickwad for the most part, right? When he was a Ten Commandments, the leader of the Ten Commandments, and even going further than that, in the first few pages, we see that Meliodas doesn't even allow himself to excuse himself for his reasons. He's got good reasons, but he realizes that though they might be reasons is basically a synonym for excuses at this point. He was still not... It doesn't excuse the fact that he was still a shitty brother. And he shouldn't have been. Right? So... But yeah, what do you think of all that? What do you think of Meliodas' reflection on this scene? Because it's quite a long time. It's a few pages of him just reflecting on what happened.
Let's see. Anything specific I can think of? It's hard to... I really should have reread the chapter a few times.
Oh, that's fine. And remember, guys, we also... Taizai comes out, like, literally a couple days, like, in a couple of days, the chapter will come out from this podcast, so then we have to go back. It's not a Friday release or a Thursday release. So sometimes our memories are a little askew. But that being said, I just really like the fact of the duality is that they both seem to remember this same scene. Now, whether that's Meliodas, and it was pointed out to me because I was kind of like, isn't this Gother's ability, his whole yelling into the mental world, his brother's mind sort of idea, that he's been doing for a few chapters, right? I was under the impression that was more of a Gother ability, like is Meliodas actually affecting it, because we see that scene, the flashback at the beginning, we see Meliodas thinking about it and mulling it over. Then when we jump over to Zeldris later in the chapter, he's remembering the same thing, and they both show their views on that flashback and where they stand now, so to speak. So it's a good duality, like the flipped coin effect. I really liked it, but I like that Meliodas realizes that he's making excuses, that he let him down in more ways than he can probably even remember, like, and that kind of stuff. And but he really now, after all these years, now he's like, I want to have that heart-to-heart, the one that you basically tried to have with me for so many years. Now I'm ready for that. That's all I want right now is to be brothers. And I mean, a little too late, Meliodas. This is where Zeldris is not the bad guy. I don't think he's really ever truly been the bad guy. No more
he's
than
just been an antag.
Right. Not a villain, but as you put it, an antagonist. So, I mean, we could chalk up all the terrible innocent lives that both Meliodas, all these other people have killed, and they've still been redeemed. Like Zeldris, honestly, in retrospect, Meliodas is actually a more terrible person than Zeldris is. All Zeldris ever did was look up to his betters, to his brother, to his, and want a relationship with him. He looked up to his father. He was scared of his father. All he did was obey commands and did his job, sort of idea, throughout everything. And he's in love with a girl that he can't have and all that stuff. And basically, the poor guy has just been kind of fucked over. Like, call a spade a spade.
Yeah, and now he's getting ultimately fucked over by vanishing into nothingness.
Yeah, that's
All
even worse.
because his brother has neglected him again.
Yeah, and this is isn't this technically the third time? Wouldn't you say?
I lose count anymore.
Yeah.
It seems to happen too much, and then it's like, well, there's gaps between when it's mentioned. It's just like, damn, Meliodas, you suck.
Yeah, yeah, no shit, eh? Um, so basically, the rest of the chapter, I guess, moves on, and we see that the Demon King once again. Once again, everyone might hate on me for being the Escanor fanboy, um, but suffice it to say, like, why aren't they blowing up this lake? Like, Cruel Sun blew up a lake. Why can't they blow up this lake? Because clearly all it's doing is, and once again, said in this chapter, my own power is being recovered at an incredible rate and being amplified by the blessings of this magical lake. Now, that being said, I also pose a question in my review, is that this lake of power, it's, as far as I know, it's not racist, and it's not choosing sides. So, if it's boosting the Demon King,
It should be doing Meliodas and Elizabeth.
right. Now, if that's the case, then this amplification is really basically 50-50 on both sides, and it's irrelevant in the long run. You can look at it that way, but why the hell would you want the Demon King to get stronger, better, faster, stronger? You know, that kind of idea. You'd blow that goddamn thing up. Like, the whole world
And
is being torn apart by tornadoes, blizzards, and thunderstorms right now with their presence alone. I'm sorry, because some people brought up the fact, like, oh, well, they don't want to hurt nature. They don't want to hurt the animals.
nature's destroying
Yeah.
itself right
Yeah,
now.
nature is literally compressing itself because this fight is dragging on. The sooner Meliodas takes this dude out, the sooner he leaves, the sooner the rest of the world is saved. So the reasoning of, oh, well, they don't want to destroy the lake is bullshit. Like, you're trying to save a dollar and burning 100. It's not, it's, you're trying to go for it. Now this is a Canadian thing, but you're going for that loony coin in the fire. You're throwing $100 bill, which is made of paper, and you're throwing a loony, which is made of metal, which is a dollar, into the same fire, and you're looking at it burn, and you're trying to save the coin while the paper burns. Like, which one's gonna burn quicker? Like, go after that $100 bill. So either way, I'm just, so he's apparently regaining the true power of the Demon King and stuff. Now, we jump over to his design. Now, what do you think of the new design of the Demon King, the second transformation?
I immediately thought with the assortment of orbs on his chest, freaking demon spider eyes, and I don't like it.
No? You
Also,
don't?
the more I look at it, it reminds me of Galther's armor when we first saw it. You know, with the shoulder pads and everything.
See, I was reminded of Critical Over from Gallon.
Oh, that too. I have, yeah.
I was seriously reminded of that, and also a lot of people are saying Super Saiyan 3. They're getting that vibe because of the hair. Um, what I'm
That's
getting.
always the thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you give someone super long hair after a transformation, it's going to be called Super Saiyan 3. But what I honestly got from it was this might just be because all the live action trailers for the Lion King stuff, but I got Scar right away. I got Scar from the Lion King vibes. Like, if you picture Scar in a humanoid form, would he not look like that? Would he not have the same hairstyle, the same menacing face? The demon mark is even creating a scar over his eye.
I know, I was going to
So,
bring that up if you didn't.
yeah, so, I mean, the man does look like a humanoid, like, if you were to draw the manga humanoid version of Scar, that this would be in the running for the design. So,
Yeah, it'd be about as close as you could get.
yeah, exactly. So I saw a combination of Super Saiyan 3 meets Scar meets Gallon's Critical Over armor. I mean, Gothar's armor, I'll agree, it's a similar design there as well. Especially more so the chest pieces and stuff, I find more match Gothar's armor. But it's okay. And you know what the sad thing is that the Demon King keeps looking, in my opinion, cooler and cooler with each transformation he goes through. And then, like, by the end of the chapter, we don't know for certain, but I'm under the impression that by the end of the chapter he's transforming again. So this transformation was literally, That like, could you get any more Dragon Ball Z Frieza with this? It's like, yeah, the third form, Ridley Scott's gonna sue somebody, so let's move on to final form Frieza. Like that did not last very long, you know.
Yeah, I can see that parallel. Since he's obtained Zeldris's form, he did the one transformation when he had the pretty cool armor.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be second form Frieza, which lasted a bit longer than most of the other forms did, minus the first and last, of course. And then, yeah, your allusion to the third form, which was like, what, 5 minutes on screen before he transformed again?
Yeah, so it's looking that way anyway by the end of the chapter. It's definitely looking that way. Also, Richard says, I don't understand why they didn't just knock his ass away from the lake at the start. That's even another option. Let's say that they're being way too tree huggery, even given my dollar versus $100 bill analogy. Let's say that they're too stupid to figure that one out. They should just have punched his ass like away from the lake, pulled a Escanor Estarossa or an Aizen Ichigo thing and grabbed him by the face and just went another 20 miles with him and take him away from the lake. That's a total other option. So Kishin, basically, if there's anything else to add, Meliodas gets his shit kicked by this new form, Demon King in base form. And then Demon Mark activates, and the shit stomping happens reverse once again. Anything to say
real
about that?
Uda.
Yeah, very JoJo's.
But yeah, I'm feeling like with how it ended, that one of my theories might actually come true. With Gelda coming in, and she may try to revive him by vampirism.
It's entirely possible. At this point, I don't hold much stock into what is going to go on. That's why I stopped making. I used to make quite a few theory videos, usually once, twice a month, about different characters and different possibilities in Taizai. But the Escanor, original Sinner, all this stuff, that original Angel, is that possible? But now the direction Nakaba has taken this arc is so goddamn bad that I just don't... I feel like it's so cookie cutter, we should all see it coming at this point. So we all know that Gelda's going to come in. I think that's the thing, that he's disappearing at the end of this chapter. Gelda's going to come in, the real one, and awaken the spirit inside of him. Because you know why? Because everybody's called it, and everybody called Escanor dying because of sunshine. And I mean, like right now, it's just really boring. It's very cookie cutter. It's very base level writing. So I have a feeling that nothing really is gonna impress us for a while here. We jump over for the last part of the chapter to Zeldris, of course, with and I'm sorry, the one above all. If you watch this later, I'm very, very sorry, but you're wrong, buddy. You're wrong. That's the Demon King. This is Incest City going on. I don't like it, but that is the Demon King in a Gelda skin. Did anybody ever see Men in Black with the Edgar suit? The bug was wearing the human skin. That's basically the equivalent here. It's the equivalent here. It's his presence inside this Gelda wannabe.
Coming to Daddy's tits, I mean Gelda's tits.
Right, exactly. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't take away from what I thought was good about this chapter, because, as I stated before, this is the other flip side of that coin, of that conversation, because we get the same flashbacks, Zeldris thinking about it, and this is another thing of Meliodas is actually pushing his mind and trying to reach out to Zeldris, and he is hearing it somewhat. Because he says, back when I idolized my older brother, I always wanted to talk to him just about the silly things. Like, all he wanted to do was pointless chit-chat, have a real relationship with his brother. He just wanted to talk, how to hunt, his dreams, his ambitions, what kind of liquor he liked. Hey, buddy, do you want to, brother, do you want to go get drunk after mowing the lawn in the demon ferns today? That kind of shit.
I had to do that today, actually.
I mean, see, there you go. And I just did it, on Friday. My brother mowed the lawn. He wanted to borrow my weed whacker, and I, because mine's better, and I lent it to him, and I just drove over to the house. We had a few beer. He did his chores, and we just chilled for a little while in the sun.
You're living Zeldris' dream.
I'm literally living his dream, exactly. Except I'm the older brother, so it's a little different. But
close enough.
Yeah.
He would want it either way.
Exactly. Now, suffice it to say that this is what Now, I went on a long time in my review, but we gotta, move the podcast along. But
Oh, Richard just said something horrible.
oh, what did he say?
He
Let's
said
see.
that the
Weird that
face
when she turned into the
looks
demon.
sexier.
Okay, well, buddy,
No.
you need Kishin.
Therapy.
Yeah.
You need something.
I'm I think you broke. I think you broke me a little bit with that one because I think that you need therapy. You need help. I need to know where the Demon King touched you to try to admitting it's the first step. There's a lot to talk about. There's too
Oh,
much.
we're finding out that the whole series took place in the past, and now he's the new vessel for the Demon King. That's why he's saying this.
Oh dear Jesus. No, I'm done with that. We're moving on from that one. The point of the matter is that this line right here on page 15, if you guys are following along, is that on page 15 where the Gelda illusion, which is what the one above all in Grimm's Discord is holding on to, is that this is an illusion. It's not really a Demon King. This illusion says pathetic. When referencing that Zeldris, of course, just wanted to have a normal brotherly relationship. That is something his father would say. That's something the Demon King would say. He'd think it was weak and pathetic. Even if this was an illusion cast by Zeldris' memories, mind, or the Demon King's memories or mind, and it was just an illusion that would wash away, and it's not actually the Demon King in Gelda's body, then that illusion would never, ever, in a million years, say pathetic. It would be a perfect illusion where it was sunshine and rainbows, and if that's the case, then a illusion version of Meliodas would also show up in this fantasy and such, and he would be literally living in a dream world. But he's not. There's only one person there because it's the Demon King. So, yeah, just saying that, and that face is horrifying, and then we get the transformation at the end of the chapter. We see that Demon Mark is fading away from Meliodas, and this leads once again into my theory that the dead eyes are a part of the Demon Mark. When you're using darkness or the demon powers all the time, your eyes go black, but when you're not using it, your eyes become clear, like a good guy. He pleads for his brother to fight back and everything in this tornado of darkness that's going on, and he realizes that Zeldris' presence is disappearing, and we see it slowly fading away. Now, once again, I believe that they should just pull a purge here. Meliodas, go God mode, beat the ever-loving shit out of him, and Elizabeth can purge the soul right out of him. Or call for Gother. Let Gother enter the mental world the same way he did with Dreyfus and Frodrin, same way he did with Mile and the Commandments. He can still go in there, and we've seen he can pull other people in there. So Gelda shows up, they pull Meliodas in if Gelda doesn't show up in time. Gother could pull Meliodas into
to
his
kind of
mental world.
pacify him and keep him there until she shows up, and then that's the real shock that he needs.
Exactly. So, I mean, it would be entirely possible right now why Gother isn't there, or he could call Gother over, get Gother there to pull them into it if you don't believe in the purge theory, which is totally possible. But if that's not the case, you could get Gother. Meliodas goes in and breaks the whole thing. He's like, that's not Gelda. Wake up. That kind of idea.
All they need is to contact Merlin. I mean, she's broken. She can easily teleport them all.
Exactly.
And then that idea just completely happens.
Yeah, so, I mean, I thought the chapter overall, though, was good, seeing the relationship, because two of the strongest characters in the series, and fan favorites, are Meliodas and Zeldris. And getting more development for their past, for their flashbacks, for their relationship as a whole, and here's what they both want, here's how it came to this. That part of it was good. Unlike last week where the dialogue killed the chapter and made it awful, the dialogue this week enhanced it and made it much better. So, any final thoughts on the chapter 319, Kishin?
I just hope we get even better next week.
Agreed. Once again, guys, Kishin and I both, I would say, like and or love this series, even if we don't agree with the current plot lines and where the direction it's been taking for a while in this arc. It does not mean that we hate on the series. We love the series. That's why we're here. That's why
we wouldn't cover it if we didn't.
Exactly. So we just expect better because we know it's had better.
It's done it in the past, yeah. Right. It's like you have a good record. why did you ruin it? Come
Exactly.
on, Nakaba, get your head back in the game.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, if that's everything, then we'll move on to the next one, which would be One Piece, chapter 949. Jesus, this series gone on a long time. What did you think of
And
that
it's
color
gonna get.
spread?
Oh, it was lovely, except it was kind of weird with Luffy, you know. Wait, which color spray are you talking about? The one for the magazine itself, or just the One Piece color spray?
The One Piece color spread, the banana
God,
eating.
the banana. Good lord, only Luffy that thing.
Yeah. See, something about it, I liked it because I like seeing all the Straw Hats together. Very cute to see Chopper without his hat. We almost never see that.
Yeah, how does he even get it off?
I don't really know.
He made those horns detachable during the time skip. Is all I can say.
There you go. So overall, what did you think of the chapter? What did you think of what was going on?
It was an interesting one. You know, we're getting to see more of these plague bullets as because excitement bullets just doesn't work for me. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah, agreed.
it's like we got to see some interesting attacks going off. You know, like the heavy stamp from Chopper and Luffy. That was kind of cool. it
Yeah,
it alluded back to like when Chopper and Frankie did a combo. I think it was like heavy strong or something, or I forget what it was. Like heavy right maybe.
yeah, I do like when they combine attacks, and also it makes sense that Chopper especially would be the first line of the chapter. How dare you use viruses as weapons? Not only because he's a doctor and everything that he believes in medicine using and advancement in science and medicine should be used to help, not to hurt, but the whole thing with Caesar. That
Yeah.
screwed up. Like both Nami and Chopper, I feel, out of all the Straw Hats, have the biggest hate on for Caesar and that type of torture, that type of you know, attacks, I suppose.
Yeah, and they just have the strongest empathy when it comes to other people. Because,
Yeah,
like, from their various backgrounds, they've seen some horrible stuff, and it's like, we don't want anyone to go through this. So, and you're doing it the worst way you could possibly do.
yeah.
When you're making a disease that is so contagious that it can take out a whole swarm of people in mere seconds to minutes, it's like you've created a weapon that should have never been made.
No, it's true. It's absolutely true. And then the
I'm
rest.
kind of wondering during the development of things, like what was the procedure to keep this from like not taking out all of Wano by accident?
I think Tekking 101 brought it up in his thing is that clearly there has to be some form of antidote. And generally speaking, when you in science labs and in the real world, when you develop something, you usually develop an antidote alongside. You know how
Yeah.
you knew it from a microscopic perspective, from a microbiology level. You're able to also how to undo it. So generally speaking, when you make something, you make the antithesis of it at the
Yeah.
same time. So I mean that dates all the way back to the Bible, the creation of God. God made Lucifer right away because he needed to make his antithesis almost by something above his own power. It was a necessity of the world. So, but that being said, they're all fighting and stuff, and then we get Raizo throwing the keys at friend of Luffy's, being of course Kid and Killer there. Killer still, of course. So they are alive. They did survive. I think we all knew that they would, but Kid's just looking on, wondering what's going on. And see, here's the thing. For the rest of the chapter with the speech and everything, I think Kid remained and heard that, and I think that's going to motivate him and stuff, because even though he's more classic pirate, he's not the most evil person in this series. There are people far worse than him. Yes, he's a murderer, a pillager. He's an actual pirate. The Straw Hats are the exception,
Yeah.
not the rule. He's a real pirate. So is Killer. But I would argue that there are people far worse. Doflamingo, Caesar, Kaido and his men, what they've done to Wano, Blackbeard. There are far worse people in the One Piece verse than Kid and Killer. So That being said, I think that they still hold a certain level of honor in a sense, and a certain level of respect and loyalty, as we saw the kid had a certain level of loyalty towards Killer in trying to save him. So I mean, we don't really see much else in this chapter about them, but he's got the keys there. He doesn't move, but yeah, what do you think about Kid and Killer's involvement?
I'm not really sure exactly what they're going to do. I mean, until they get those cuffs off, obviously, they're not going to be much of help to nobody. But especially Kid, of course. We don't, I'm pretty sure Killer doesn't have a devil fruit. But
He may or may not. Yeah, we don't know that, but you're right.
yeah, but as soon as, Killer or not Killer, Kid can do anything, I the prison break is going to be easy because he could just like get all the random metal debris that's been bashed around and just start like making barriers against all the contagious people, and that'll clear a path to breaking out of the prison.
But as we know from the end of the chapter, they don't need to break out. They've taken it over.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
there's still these contagious people. You gotta keep
True.
them quarantined somehow.
True, but
Because that ain't got the antidote.
If Raizo was able to find all that stuff, I'm sure that they may or may not beat it out of one of the not whatever his name is, begins with a D, the Scorpion fella.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Yeah, they'll beat it out of somebody. Also, Richard says Caesar is the best character in One Piece and proved he was GOAT by raping kids. Okay. First off,
He might be a literal goat with those horns, but he is not goat.
no, he is not GOAT. Richard, I do have to ask you one thing. Like, we already talked about this. Like, where did the Demon King touch you? And second off, by saying something like that, dude, you're the load your mama should have swallowed. You know that? Like, Jesus H. Christ. So, is the best character in One Piece. Like, every word in that sentence is just wrong. I can't agree with anything you said.
He's an interesting character, but he's not the best by any stretch.
Yeah, no, he is not the best character. That's just a fact. He's certainly not the GOAT, and he's certainly not GOAT by raping a dude.
Was that even confirmed to begin with? I feel like you're just adding worse on top of the pile of terrible.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be acknowledging anything of that magnitude again on live stream, shall we say. That being said, so we go through it. We get the whole mummy disease, right? Right after that, one of Lord Queen's finest creation. I'm a little disappointed that that's why the epithet is the plague. I would have thought that each of the titles would have related to their devil fruits.
Or I think we all wanted that.
We wanted that. Queen being a Vegapunk, a Caesar, we make weapons of war thing. Doesn't really suit. I'm a little disappointed by it, but I mean, this whole mummy disease, I mean, it's kind of cool the way it works, but it's awful, and it looks like it turned us all of Udon against us, sort of idea, and they're still all fighting. Then we get, here's where the chapter really picks off. Here's where the chapter becomes something that I talked about in my review, and this is something that I think, Kishin, you may or may not agree with me about this, but it's where we need to separate what makes a good chapter and what makes a hype moment in a chapter. Having a hype moment in a chapter does not necessarily make a great chapter. I just want to point that out because that is what Nakaba has been doing since chapter 300. Nobody likes anything that has happened in chapter 300, but Bond got his sacred treasure, hype moment, so we like that. Doesn't make the chapter or the reason that he got it good or anything.
I think I know where you're going with this. I haven't seen your review, though.
Yeah,
so you're going to say that the speech was hype, but it doesn't progress the story in any notable way for this chapter.
Actually, the exact opposite. I'm going to say that this is the difference, is that a hype moment to me would be Kaido is a dragon. Or the reveal of King and Queen when we first got them dropped and stuff, right? Seeing Zoro once again. These are hype moments. This moment wasn't hype. Shanks didn't show up. Big Mom and Kaido didn't fight. You know, no major, huge, holy shit, blow the mind of 22 years of community moment happened. A hype moment is something like Kaido is a dragon, Shanks shows up at Marineford, those type of things. Those are hype moments. Escanor getting Sunshine back, you know, Bond getting his sacred treasures, things like those. Those are hype moments. This moment isn't. It's to me, it's a little hard to explain why it's not a hype moment. It's hype, but it's not a hype moment. It makes the chapter and it makes it a great chapter because Luffy himself. This is character building for Luffy. Like, all I saw after reading this chapter was everyone, a huge comment thread, a huge one on Manga Stream saying he's the man who's going to become the Pirate King, and everyone just repeated that line in various ways. He's the man who's going to become Pirate King. He's the one. 22 years this series has gone on, and that has been his goal since day one. And this is just another instance of, I would argue, character development, that he is a leader. He knows how to grab a crowd, and he is proving his mettle that he is the one deserving of the fan base's love for him, that he's the one deserving of being the Pirate King. Because everything he says, everything he does, nothing major actually happens. He takes out a jailer. We've seen him do that before. He talks. It's dialogue. No big reveal happens in the dialogue. No big character shows up, which would be, I would argue, the hype moments. This isn't a hype moment. It's a hype chapter. And that makes the chapter great. For me, anyways, I think this whole speech was amazing. But I've talked long enough about it. What did you think of the speech and everything?
The speech was definitely, like, it's showing his leadership skills and his morale boosting capabilities have improved. Like, they've always been pretty good, you know, but now he can't just beat down whatever he wants nowadays like he used to, where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna take out the biggest bitch in the yard, you know, prison style. He can't do that like he used to. So now he needs allies. So that morale boosting, the camaraderie to bring people in, those are leadership skills that he's showing and he's going to need furthering into this story. And he showed it. And it was great.
That's exactly what I'm saying. This was Naya D. Hemmings, who, of course, guys, go check out his channel, shameless plugging. Naya has argued that character development is almost non-existent in One Piece. Not that it necessarily needs it, but it's very slow, if not even there at all. I would argue that this is a showcase. What this reminded me of a little bit was Luffy used to inspire one person per arc. Way back when. He inspired Usopp. He inspired Zoro. He inspired Nami. Crew members that he wanted. Sanji. He inspired a couple of people. Now, 900 chapters later, he's here to inspire a multitude of people all at once. He's not going for just one individual to make them believe.
He's doing islands and countries all at one time.
Yeah, and we saw it at the beginning of the New World with Fishman Island. They all believe in Luffy now. It's his territory. He might become the end of the island, but hey, we'll follow him off of the island. Absolutely. So I love that. I'm not sure if he hockeyed up. I might have been mistaken about that. I feel like he was using like some form of hockey, whether it's observation or something like that. When he first rubber basically banded all the people going forward. And he says, everyone's like, are you crazy? Because everyone was like, all the prisoners yell and say, look at what one weapon from one of Kaido's crew did to the amount of devastation, this fearsome, awesome, destructive power. How can we fight against this? And I love that Luffy, basically to prove a point, goes up and basically it's kind of like eating the poison apple sort of idea. This ain't nothing. This is shit. What do you mean fearsome? What's so destructive and depressing about this? This shit doesn't work on someone like me. And then Chopper says...
You think he's going to gain a resistance? Or to an extent?
I think
to
he
the
already
plague
gained
bullets.
that because of the whole Magellan and Ivanko thing. I think
Yeah,
he...
but this is like a new disease
True, but
and
he's
different kind
taken
of
the
poisons.
literal poison fruit, or the venom
I
fruit. So,
guess.
which I would argue that Magellan can make a more dangerous poison than Queen. I would argue that because
Well,
his whole devil fruit is literal, the embodiment of it. But that being said, yeah, I think he might build up something. But I think this is where Oda, I feel, does everything perfectly. Like the Straw Hats have been separated for a long time; they've always been separated, but here we literally get the team with Chopper, the Doctor, when Luffy gets poisoned, happens to be in the situation. So I
right.
feel like that's, and but anyways, the speech happens. Just another day to you. You're all slaves, you idiots and stuff. And remember that this is Japanese culture, right? So this is a little different, I feel, because remember they have far more. They believe more so like we have in the West here, Kishin. I think you'd agree. We have the faith followers. We have the church and stuff. But the Ten Commandments of the church do not include honor, loyalty, honesty. That, like, for the most part, they include more specific things and more about like do good, but in a much more generalized sense. Whereas in Japan, everything boils down to your honor as who you are as a person, as a man of Japan, as a woman of Japan. So him basically saying you all became slaves, telling the noble, because most of these people are probably samurai, as they've claimed that they have fought. They used to fight
Mhm.
against Kaido. A lot of these are from the noble caste, the noble clans, and the samurai and the warrior caste. And he's basically calling them fodder. And he's saying, you guys haven't even realized that you don't have your honor anymore. The thing most important to most people, you lost it 20 years ago. And he says, so what if I'm an outsider? And the whole making a promise to a little girl and stuff. I'm so glad he brought that up because
Yeah.
spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Full Metal Alchemist. Anybody who hasn't seen it, we all know what the power of one little girl can do for a main character. We all know the power of just one little girl. So, and at the end of Full Metal Alchemist, as we know, that was the entire, basically, summary of why, spoilers in 3, 2, 1, Edward Elric actually gave up his alchemy altogether. He could have been the strongest alchemist, and he gave it all up, not just for his brother, but in the fact that alchemy couldn't save one little girl. So he never thought it was really worth anything at the end of the day, anyways, by the time it was all said and done, because he couldn't save one little girl. So here we get Luffy. It was so reminiscent to me of an Edward Elric style thing. And I think that's why I feel that there is so much character development with Luffy here, showcasing his leadership, his will to be the Pirate King. And he even tells them here at the end of the speech, I've heard the stories of Odin. He was really something else. But 20 years ago, he was killed by Kaido. This country came to a halt. He basically looks on and says, like, yeah, I get it. Odin died. Yes, that was sad. But you all gave up the moment he died.
It's
That's
been
all.
20
It's
years.
been
Get your
20...
balls back.
Exactly. What have you been doing? Mulching around here, waiting for someone who's dead to come back to life? What have you been waiting for? The 9 red sheaths are literally here. The prophecy is here. We're all back. We're all fighting, and they have my support. I'm the man here to defeat Kaido, and your guys are still sitting down. Like, what are you waiting for? You've been waiting 20 years for what? If you were going to be this useless, basically go die. Like, he had no time for that. And then, of course, he swayed the hearts of the prisoners, and then the whole... Do you want to talk about the Babanuki thing? Because...
I just loved that panel where Luffy just hog ties the trunk, and that look on his face. He's like, "Yeah, I just did that." Babanuki, like, I forget who I alluded to the face, like what it looked like to me. I can't remember now, but yeah, Babanuki is dead.
Yeah, I said the same thing. Like, it was so badass because we're like, okay, Kappa's gonna do something, or Kawamatsu, I should say. No, Kiku's gonna do something. No. It's like it's too late, and then we just see, like, tied his friggin' trunk in a knot, and he goes. And then this is where we get the full reveal. I know we kind of glimpsed it in Whole Cake, but this is another confirmation that Luffy can use future sight observation hockey. because as you said, I caught a glimpse of a pretty bad future just now. So, and then, boom, like his torso's gone, his head and shoulders are gone. The dude is dead.
I mean, with all the pressure that he's built up, the elephant's head is gone, if nothing else.
And I even stated in my review, Kishin, that even if that explosion, which we know just killed him, even if you could argue that it didn't because this is One Piece, that was 200 of those plague bullets, the one that mummified people in seconds. Yeah. So then he's a dried up husk of a mummy and dead anyways. You know?
He did one way or the other.
Yeah, he's dead one way or the other, and everyone's just like, whoa. And then Luffy's like, all right, you guys, basically, I read a lot into this, as I said. It was the same with the Odin line. I read a lot into it. It was like, you guys gave up. You know, Odin's dead. That's sad, but get your head out of your ass. As you said, Kishin, get your balls back. Luffy basically said, you guys clean up the rest. He's basically saying, all right, I'll let you guys have your second chance that you asked me about a minute ago. He goes, now you guys basically prove to me, in a Luffy way, he's basically saying, prove to me you're on my side now. And so then the prisoners just turn on Scorpion, bitch. And it's like, we don't care. We're rebelling. It's fine. You know. So they just all like crack their knuckles. They're like, all right, we literally don't care. That dude literally took you all out. We're good. So.
And the praise from Kawamatsu, it's like, oh, what a dependable man. And Kyo ends the chapter with, Kinemon, you brought a good one.
yeah, you really brought a good one. And then we saw that 8 days before the final battle. So we're counting down. I believe that the final day when the battle starts, that's when we're going to get into Act 3, which is supposedly the longest in a 5-act kabuki play. So assuming this is a 5-act one, I believe that the 3rd act will start because we've had that time card counting down ever since the beginning of Act 2. So, like, 9 days before the final battle, 10 days before the final battle. Now we have 8 days. So I believe that that's what we're going to get. But, so the enemy forces have no idea that Udon has been 100% captured by the rebellion. So that's going to lead into some stuff. I think that's just really, really cool.
Still haven't figured out, like, why hasn't anyone from the outside, like, realized, wait, we haven't gotten, a report from the prison in a while. Maybe we need to go check that out.
I mean, they might eventually, but Queen just left, remember? So, I mean, it wouldn't be a... I do want to say, though, because I read on Manga Stream for my One Piece and stuff, once again, I just want to reiterate that there has been over 348 comments under that thread I said about people saying Luffy is the man who will become the Pirate King, and everybody is commenting in that same thread. I'm still scrolling. Luffy is the man who will become Pirate King. Luffy is the man who will become Pirate King. Damn right, Luffy is the man who will become... And it's just a combination of everyone saying the same thing. This chapter, once again, I know you know this, Kishin. A lot of people have been dropping One Piece in this Wano arc. I honestly don't know why, because this chapter proves them all wrong. If you don't like what Wano is, if you don't like what this arc is, why didn't you leave in an arc like Fishman Island? Like One Piece has always been this way, and this arc is, so far to me, is leading up to something we haven't seen since Marineford. I feel like we are going to get a Marineford level of craziness by the end of this arc. And if you guys just don't like the build-up, then I'm sorry, you just don't like One Piece.
Onigashima's going to be a powder keg, is all I can say.
There you go. Yeah. Richard said a few things. He said 900 plus chapters into the story, and he only gained bio arc Shin level of leadership skills. Yes, but this is a story. If you want to base it on that, go read Akatsuki no Yona, because she's taking over multiple entire countries by herself, and she's a 16-year-old girl. So this story isn't necessarily about leadership in a whole. It's about him becoming Pirate King. Leadership skills are just an added benefit and bonus of building his character. Comparing the differences in a seinen to a, kind of ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah. If anything, Nami is the real captain on the ship anyway. So Luffy's leadership has never really been the biggest part of
No.
the series.
But as we know, Zoro threatened to leave if
Yeah.
Luffy didn't step up when it's time to be captain. Remember, Nami, for comedic effect, rules the crew. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, if Luffy doesn't behave like a captain, Zoro steps in because, suffice to say, people don't think he is. He's the goddamn vice captain. He's the Rayleigh. He is the first mate of the Straw Hats. Some people don't think so. But he is the second in command. And he steps up and he says, like, if you don't do that, I'm leaving. So, the other thing Richard says is he quotes the Edward Elric stuff. And yes, Truth, an amazing, I wouldn't even say an antagonist, just an amazing character. Truth isn't really a bad person or a good person, just the truth. And the whole quote at the end of the series, what I was talking about, which is, yeah, it's pretty accurate. So, that being said, what else, Kishin? What are we moving on to? Of course, Kingdom is on break. Do you have anything else to say about the One Piece chapter? Sorry.
I think we covered about everything.
Okay.
I just want Chopper to learn this level of hockey.
Yeah.
Think about it. He could probably unclot an artery.
It's true. Well, I suppose we could move on to One Punch Man, which we both read, of course. Chapter 112. I don't believe we covered that last week, did we? Or did we?
I think we might have.
Okay.
Yeah, because...
Yes. No. Did we?
Yeah, we talked about Zombie Man.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're right. My bad. Okay, so we already talked about One Punch Man. How about?
I guess My Hero would probably be up next.
My Hero, Kishin, why don't you just put me out of my misery with this one? This one is so goddamn dark.
We lost the pupper, guys. We lost the pupper, but we already knew this. But then we lost the whole family. Then we lost the family house, and then we gained probably one of the most evil villains in the series.
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah.
I even did a review on this chapter because, as I said last week, like I thought about it, I hummed and hawed, and I said, nope, not going to be a poser and stuff. But this week, if it wasn't for that speech in the One Piece chapter, I would say that this was chapter of the week. Even though this is a great chapter and stuff, there was some things. Yes, the dog died, and of course that's always sad. Fuck the humans, the dog died. That's the worst part of this chapter. But the other thing that bothers me is I don't believe if who writes this again? What's his name?
Horikoshi.
Okay. If they're smart, if they don't do a Nakaba and get stupid, if they stay smart, then this is going to be multi-layered. This isn't the end of his origin story. Not by a long shot. This isn't the answer. Because you could make this cookie cutter and make it simple. Like, okay, so how do you summarize this really quickly? He was mistreated by his dad, his quirk activated, and he ended up killing his whole family. Because he hated everyone. Period. That's cookie cutter. That's some Nakaba on Escanor right now level of cookie cutter single line. That's not what this is about. The itch went away and all. Don't get me wrong, it was powerful, but the reason I think this whole chapter and this whole origin story has been even more powerful is because we all waited to know why. Why is it? Did he hate everybody? Did he actually love everyone? That was the big question. And now, at the end of the chapter, he actually hated everyone. And he intentionally killed his father. Fine. I think there's another layer to that. I think he suppressed, because remember when what's-his-name found him, he was still weeping and crying over what he had done when he handed him the hands and all that stuff in that flashback. So,
which I'm suspecting we're going to get another chapter or two of this flashback to incorporate that into the series so that we get the full backstory.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying that there's more to this story in the sense that him hating everyone is too easy an answer. I don't think he did. Yeah. I think he is pushing down the regret and stuff, even though he's saying he's unlocked these memories again. I still think he's hiding his feelings even from himself. He regrets killing the dog and he feels guilt over what he did, even though in a moment, like I compared it to in my review, Kishin, I said there's always been a moment where you wanted to punch a sibling in the face, or you as a child you were like, Mom, I hate you and stuff. You didn't really hate your mom. You never actually hate. I mean, maybe some of you out there have had terrible fucking crackhead moms, and yeah, okay, fine. But in a general sense, like
It's always in the moment.
it's an in the moment state, and right now we saw him puking and vomiting over what he'd done. He's covered in the dog's blood and stuff. He's terrified of what just happened. He doesn't know what's going on. He can't find his voice. This is a highly emotional, stressful moment, to the point that hair turning white, levels of stress, emotional trauma. He's literally been traumatized before he even talks to his sister. So he's in a traumatic state, and we even see him rushing to get his dad's help before he decides to jump him. So I even think he regrets killing his dad almost more than anyone, because he can justify everything else as an accident. He can't justify killing his father. Even in the moment, that was intentional. So he hates himself. He used this, well, I'm a monster. That's his safety net. That's his security blanket. I'm just a villain. I'm a monster. That line is keeping him from realizing that he doesn't want to bring those feelings back up. He doesn't want to face the regret and the guilt, so he just summarized it all, pushed that all down, and said, well, I'm a monster. It's what I do. You know, that it's the easy answer. As Yoda once said, the dark side of the Force, quicker, easier. You know,
He's definitely not an ogre. He's got to have layers.
Exactly. Ever since as I think we said last week, Kishin, or the week before, ever since the Hawks Endeavor thing, for me, leading up till now, has been the best part of My Hero Academia, bar none. And
I'm pretty sure I remember that.
And I'm just looking forward to the more. So I can't believe that it's this simple an answer, because this is getting so good that I think it needs to. We're looking at some multi-tiered shit, going on.
I mean, part of the reason why we're thinking it's simple is because this is such a down-to-earth kind of thing, at least until his quirk awakened.
Yeah.
You know, like you see sitcoms that'll talk about abuse, or you'll watch a movie and it's like, and it has these, just basically this whole flashback as a movie, and it's like we see it all the time, so we're real, you know, used to it in the sad way of things,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's like that might be why it kind of seems simple. It's because we're just used to it, so we absorb it a lot quicker. There's not a whole lot to needing to be processed.
That's true.
And but yeah, he was going for that dad after he got.
Oh yeah. He was going after he hit him over the head with the golf club or whatever he grabbed.
I think those are things that you cut limbs on a tree with.
Oh, is that what he used? I'm not.
I think that's what it was.
I'll check. So some type of garden tool or something like
Yeah,
that.
because it has like a biter kind of thing on the end of it. It's kind of weird looking, so I'm not sure
Oh,
if that's exactly what it is, but
Oh
that's kind of
yes,
what it looks like.
that is what it is. It's one of those hedge trimmer sort of idea. The ones that have the extendable,
Yeah.
thing. So, but yeah, no, it's pretty nuts that whole chapter. I thought it was incredible, and if it wasn't for the Luffy speech, for me personally, because once again, guys, this is my own opinion, my own bias, but I do prefer One Piece far, of course, way more than My Hero Academia. So when we get a great chapter like we got in 949, it's hard, even with a fantastic chapter like 236 of My Hero Academia, it's hard for me to put it up against One Piece in that way. But don't get me wrong, this chapter was absolutely like incredible. It pulled at you. It was really good. So any other thoughts on My Hero Academia, Kishin?
I'm kind of wondering. The final line was, "The itch finally went away." Yet we've seen him still scratching in the present day. So it's like
Yeah.
maybe that's, every so often he gets like a vague memory, and then that's when it's just like subconsciously that he starts scratching again, because he has very dry looking skin.
Yes.
That apparently has not changed. If anything, it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
So I want to know where that connection is nowadays. Like,
True.
why
True.
is he still scratching?
Well, as I said before, I'm of the theory that the itch went away and I just hate everyone and I'm a monster, I'm a villain. That's just simple justification rather than facing the honest truth. The itch didn't actually go away. He made himself believe that the itch went away, but it's not the real truth.
He's
That's
just choosing not to scratch it anymore.
right, yeah, right, pretty much. The itch is still there. He just and as you said, he subconsciously does it. I don't even think he knows he's doing it. So
Yeah. I'm still thinking that there's going to be more to this back, to incorporate Yujiko and I'm going to put All for One,
mm-hmm.
and to kindly fill in that what little glimpses we've seen in this arc, because that's kind of what this arc has done. We'll see glimpses of something, and then later on we flashback and we saw them all connected and fleshed out. So those memories have to have been, going to be fully realized, I would hope,
I
given the
would think
trend.
so. Yeah, absolutely.
So I would say 1 to 2 more chapters of a flashback, and then we'll see if your cookie cutter, villain idea might really be the case, or maybe there's more to it that we just aren't privy to right now.
That's true. Yeah. Um, so Richard also said I'm backlogged a little bit, but he said I understand your point, but it's not different between one is shonen and one other is seinen. You should have just said that they are two different kinds of stories. Yeah, that's basically what I am saying, but I'm also saying that by genre changes, the difference between a shogo, for example, and a shonen, you're still gonna see battles in a shojo, but they might not be as intense or as. Oh, my bad. That's my phone. But yeah, so nothing else to really say about that. They are two different types of stories, of course, and they're just told differently. That's all it is. I still think One Piece and Kingdom are two fantastic stories in their own way. And I'm pretty sure you guys did cover it. Yes, we did cover One Punch Man now.
Yeah. Once I remembered the Zombie Man talk, because I was like, that was one of the best panels in the whole
Right,
chapter
exactly.
for me.
Exactly. So, Keishan, why don't you take it away with one of the series that you do read, and I'll quickly grab this phone call.
Alrighty.
All right.
We'll be tackling The Promise Neverland. And yeah, quick summary of it. It continued the search for Musica and Sunjun, because she's traveling with him. He's her bodyguard. Um, we that was the bulk of the chapter. They found some footprints to, hidden footprints, I should say, because they've been hiding their tracks. So, um, they're fairly fresh. They've been following them along with their guide Aishi and her wolf pack. Basically, I mean, it's 3 wolves, so that's in itself kind of overkill in my uh, point of view. But whatever, she was raised with them. Uh, so yeah, they finally do track down Musica and Sunjun. This, like I said, was the big part of the chapter this week, because it's leading to the final setup. Norman had orders that Jin would, uh, along with his, I guess, Atom Squad, would ambush them when they found Musica, because her blood will, you know, I guess, pacify the demons, for lack of better term, until, you know, well, not until, for all time. Her blood is the cure, but Norman has other plans, so he doesn't want to use that concept. Well, um, let's see, just to kind of refresh myself on what happened around that point. Um, yeah, the spring to the trap is sprung. Yeah, I screwed that up. But yeah, once they finally track them down, the the ambush on the two demons is going to happen. It's and we get to see a little bit of Sun June's potential. He is one of the fastest demons we've ever seen in the series, which, is saying a lot given how many demons we've seen up to this point. He is faster or as fast as Lewis is in the present day, which, it's hard to say if he's like, you know, where he would stack up to Prime Lewis, but, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, we just saw him speed blitz around Jen, and Jen was like, what? Oh, and just the Grim Reaper kind of look to Sunjun in that final panel, it got me. Or no, it wasn't even the final panel, it was the last page. Second to last page. But yeah. And that wasn't even the whole chapter. That was just the bulk of it. Just setting up this altercation between these bulky humanoids. Well, they're humans, but they've been modified. Gorilla men, basically. To fight this one demon who took them completely by surprise. I love it. I want to see more of it. Um, but that is not all, because starting off the chapter, and this is kind of the sullen point for me, because it was, teased at the end of the last chapter that we would finally get to find out what the price that Emma will have to pay for her new promise. We don't get that. I don't know why. Now would be a good time, but we did kind of get a hint. It's not something that Emma is going to, presumably something to do with her family. Be it maybe they have to be used as sacrifice. It's like, oh, well, to teleport all the children, I need some of the children. That's what I'm wondering. Like a blood sacrifice, as it were, because, gods apparently love blood for no reason other than they just want the stuff. But, yeah, Emma's face was in total shock when he revealed it off screen what the price was, and like I said, it would have to be something she does not want, and she just replies with a "oh." It's like, so maybe she's just so shocked that there is like no like other response she could have made in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like I I'm hoping for better, but I'm thinking she's going to lose a good chunk of her family, or maybe humanity as a whole. It's like, oh, well, you want these kids to be put into the human world, throwing off the balance that this world has had for 1,000 years. Okay, I need a big payment for that. Okay, we're just taking a good chunk of the humans. I don't know.
That's
It,
that sounds pretty intense. The only thing that I saw, ladies and gentlemen, about the Promised Neverland was that actually quite pretty color page at the beginning. Because I don't follow Promised Neverland, but I did
yeah.
skim through it. I skimmed through most of the manga stream uploads.
Yeah,
So,
that's there's a thing called the night and the day
mm-hmm.
where it's at the same time. That's where the seven walls is.
Sounds like the Twilight fucking zone to me. But that's cool. That's cool.
It's part of a ritual to get to the seven walls,
Mm-hmm.
and that's basically what you're seeing on the cover page. Which
Gotcha.
also, if you're reading this on um, the manga stream site,
Mm-hmm.
they did the wrong chapter number.
Oh, did they? Did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
I noticed it when I was reacting. Be 143. What the hell? But whatever, small typos, it doesn't matter. It's just
No,
funny
exactly.
little fun fact.
Oh, exactly.
Oh,
Snap.
Richard saying he thinks that he might want her soul or her humanity. Oh
Yes,
Lord.
yes. It's and from what you've told me, Keishan, it's entirely possible that he wants her soul. That would be a trade off, I believe. Also, Snapback Pirates. I don't know if you acknowledged this one, Keishan, but said shonen and seinen is not a genre; it's a demographic. Yes, poor word choice on my part, ladies and gentlemen. Though
Eh,
you could argue that shonen definitely encompasses specific genres that make up a shonen. What a shonen
yeah.
actually is at its core, its cliches and its tropes are based in certain genres anyway. So you can't exactly have a slice of life shonen, I would say. Not that it probably exists somewhere, but more classical shonen can be summed up with specific genres. So, but that being said, yes, it's a demographic, not a genre. Blah blah blah. That wasn't the point.
Well, it's just like the debate of, is animation its own genre? It's not,
No, it's
but
not a
people will
genre.
argue day and night that it is.
No, of course it's not. Of course, animation is not a genre. Because if that were the case, then that would mean like Aladdin the live action movie and Aladdin the animated movie. That you would add one more genre to the movie because that's like saying live action is a genre. Well, live action is not a genre. You know, it's just that sounds foolish. So that being said, was that everything about Promised Neverland? Sorry to interrupt there.
That was a good bit of it without, reiterating myself too much.
Mm-hmm. So for me, as I said, it's the same with Keisha this week. I think my pickings are a little slim. Black Clover 213 shows us the Great Soul Tree and the end, I believe. There's probably a couple of... We always have, of course, the chapters directly after an arc ends, but this is basically showcasing the end of the elves and the end of the arc. Um, it's a... It was an okay chapter, once again. I don't pay too much attention to all the different elf characters, so I didn't feel too much. I liked...
Like, there's elves in this series now.
Yeah, there is, and they're super
Oh
magical.
damn.
Um, but I did acknowledge the whole that had the sun and everything in his spirit and all this stuff, and I did like that. Something I want to mention is near the very beginning where Charmy, of course, the eating hungry mage, says. You've gone back to normal, Charmy. I thought you became like a slim total babe. And she says, "What are you saying? I'm always a sexy total babe." But yeah, of course, we all know what that means. And because she transformed back into her chibi form, and she doesn't really seem to think there's a difference. That being said, yeah, the chapter overall was a little bit emotional, but I didn't feel any good emotion. That's one of the biggest problems with Black Clover for me. There's no character that I feel hugely invested in or emotionally attached to. Hence, I don't really... This chapter was all for the feels, but I'm not specifically attached to any of these characters that we're saying goodbye to. So, it's not... It was an okay chapter, but nothing really else to talk about, I guess. Yeah. So, that being said, yeah, I don't think there's really anything else. I'm excited to see what the next arc of Black Clover will be all about. I'm curious to see where the direction is going to go and what new antagonists are going to be, like we've introduced to the devils and stuff like that. So I'm curious to what's next, sort of idea. Because Black Clover has always played around with a little bit of the caste system and the nobility system and stuff like that, and I'm better than you sort of idea. So we're going to get some more political corruption in the kingdom. Is that going to be where everything falls apart again? It's hard to say. Richard said you can have a slice of life shonen. There are plenty of them. Yes, I understand that. What I'm saying is that Bleach, Naruto, Toriko, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z and all of the major shonen that people know about, Pokemon and stuff, are adventure, battle shonen. That is the classic version of a shonen. Yes, of course, you can have a comedy-only shonen and stuff. It's a demographic pointed at 15-year-old boys. If you add fart jokes and Bart Simpson, you can have a comedy shonen. That's not the point. The point is that when people say shonen, I think the big three. I don't think about, some obscure slice of life or a comedy or some thriller manga that is a shonen, but it's not a classic shonen. So, that being said, he also said, I dropped Black Clover because it's just dope looking fights and nothing more. No, there is some character development, there is some character building. It's got a bit of that...
It's just not always on the part of Asta.
Exactly. There is some good moments, and there definitely is some character building and stuff with Julius and stuff like that, and there was some character building with Yami, and I really like the witch stuff, and Henry's a great character. The Vermilions, I love, what's her name? I butcher her name, but anyway, she's awesome, and a few...
Is it the one that likes Asta?
No. Not her. That's That's Noelle. That's one of the other people.
No, she's part of the Silva.
Yeah, she's part of the Silva.
No, but they're Mimosa. She's of the Vermilion.
Is that who I'm thinking of? She's the really old chick. Like, she's the older sister.
Really old? Oh.
Yeah, well, not really old, but she's, like, older than everybody else. She's the older sister of Fuego.
Oh, then I may have not have met this character yet. Though.
Yeah, she's a badass and stuff in Fuego and stuff. And yes, most of it boils down to good fights, but there are characters you do care about. It's just in this chapter, none of the elf characters I really gave much of a shit about, so...
that's kind of funny. Oh, wait, you said that you didn't give a shit about it. I thought you were referring that they don't give a shit.
Oh, no. It's just that me personally, I didn't feel connected or like I got their plight, but I was kind of like, okay, I'm done with this a while ago. So, every single one of them basically has the exact same motivation. So it doesn't single them out. They're basically one entity of characters, all hating the same thing, all hating
we are the collective,
right? And so that makes them their individuality that takes away from it, and it makes them boring, and it makes that once you gave up on their plight, the rest of their individuality fell apart. So I just didn't really care about the individual.
Yeah, we make all the toys and load the sleigh and
exactly.
feed the reindeer, and what the fuck do we get? Not a goddamn thing except this freaking awesome hot chocolate, but that ain't enough, no.
No, never at all. That being said, why don't we move on to one of your series, Kishin?
Okay, we're going with Chainsaw Man, chapter 31. Yeah, it continues where it left off from last week. You remember the two... Denji and Power were going to start getting training by this one guy.
Yeah,
and he basically almost killed them.
Yep.
Yeah, it got crazier. But remember, at the end of the chapter, they're like, oh, we just got to be like those smart guys in manga that I keep reading about, Denji was thinking. Yep. Well, they actually did have a plan when he came to their apartment. Well, they nearly got him.
That's good.
Because he's like, all right, it's a little late. I wonder what the assholes are doing. And they were, they are like kind of dressed up like, and they're kind of like a school outfit, with the glasses, the tie, and all that kind of stuff to make themselves look smarter. Mm-hmm. They're like, yeah, time to start the super genius strategy. And yeah, that strategy starts off with, as he's right there at their door, you have the peepholes and stuff in the doors. Power makes a spear out of blood and is going to drive it right through where his head would be. So he can't see the attack coming, but he dodges it. It was
of course. Of course. And he's like, got that observation hockey to max out.
Yeah. Basically. And he grabs it and it's like, oh, you were aiming for my head. And this weapon's made out of blood. Interesting. Mm-hmm. You were actually planning ahead. Interesting. And he's like, oh, I guess or let's see, what was the line? You're trying to make me the hunted this time, I guess, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
And they
exactly.
did because in the the floor, I guess it's the floor above their apartment. They had these like water bottles sitting up right above the doorway of their apartment, so that she can just make more spears come through the ceiling.
Well, that works. I did
It didn't
actually.
do shit.
I did just quickly scan through the chapter, and I'm
Oh, you did?
just so I could see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
And
it's not. It was a decent little scene. I have to.
yeah, I mean, I liked it, and then the last part of them the throwing the knife and stuff, that was hilarious. I thought that was
Yeah,
freaking
I
funny.
wasn't expecting that, so that was
Well,
just great.
but he's right. Like, don't expect what a hunter says. Are you fucking stupid? You know, like
Yeah, until I'm dead, you should always fear me.
yeah,
That's how I would take his character anyway.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
But and then the second half of the chapter revolves around Aki or Anki. It's Aki.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he's going to start. It was mentioned like a chapter ago that he would be getting a new demon,
Mm-hmm.
something a bit stronger than what he had because the fox wasn't cutting it. And but it's a little confusing at the end. And sorry if I'm picking up some background noise. I can't control it. The They take him to a special facility,
Mm-hmm.
and but there's this one moment that they meant the two people that were escorting him and everything. They're like they were asking about this woman who came to visit him, and I went back to the previous chapter when he was still in the hospital, and it was like I don't remember any other visitors, so I'm kind of drawing a blank on what that was all about.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
he says that it was like his buddy's little sister, and I'm trying to think. It's like, okay, I don't quite get it. uh, it's just some of these characters in the background, it's
Yeah.
just they
All
don't always sync with me.
no, and all I can see right now is that at the end of this chapter, we're seeing this weird thing. Is like, is that supposed to be a sister? Or what? Like, is that his new demon that he's after?
Presumably, that's going to be his. That's nothing to do with it, though, or
Mm.
anything like that.
Mm.
It's just apparently this really powerful demon that they just have on, which apparently other people have contracted with this thing, which then confirms that multiple people can contract with the same demon.
I see.
I'm
I
pretty
see.
sure it's never been confirmed, but I could just be wrong. A slip of a little dialogue, and it's hard to keep it all in your head. But it looks weird. It's like Groot meets some demonic presence.
Yeah, I'm getting a very wood spirit thing going on there, like a wood demon, but it's just or a tree demon, springing things from Skyrim looking thing.
I have no idea what that reference. I never played Skyrim.
Oh, okay. Well, they're basically a tree spirit. They're basically a bunch of branches in humanoid form, and they attack you.
Uh,
So,
mm,
uh,
yeah, the only thing about Skyrim I ever knew was like the Skyrimming up and down walls to the
mm-hmm.
point where it became its own phrase.
Right, right.
But yeah, but that's where my knowledge kind of ends.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Anyway, the chapter was pretty simple. It was more action oriented, and then seeing the new demon, and that was about it. I mean, there was some interesting like little bits in the letters that Aki was getting, but until that's further, we get to see some more of it. It's not as gripping for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you take things away.
All right. Well, I only have two more to talk about, so I'll talk about Doctor Stone, I guess, really quick, and then I'm sure you'll have some thoughts on the second one, and we'll just wrap up my segment because Doctor Stone, as I said before, I love Dr. Stone, love the art. Bocce, he's got better artwork than Murata in his monthly series. A weekly series, of course, is going to have a lesser amount of detail to it, but I still think that the style is better and everything. And it really, like, once again, as I said, I'm not too interested in this arc, so there's not really a whole lot I really want to talk about. I thought the chapter was fine. I'm just glad that they're going forward, and trying to completely, bypass this arc, I hope, because we do get a shot of Senku's dad, of course, back in the day, and that was really cool. The end part of the chapter was its redeeming part for me. It was like, oh yeah, I remember him and stuff, and all about leaving minerals for the future. Sort of the gift to you is gold, diamond, and of course platinum. Someday, Senku, I knew that you'll come along and you'll break us all free of this petrification and stuff. And he's remembering his adoptive father, he's remembering his dad, and he's just like, yeah, I'm going to make a steady stream forward, I won't let you down, sort of idea. And then science will definitely win at the end of the day, sort of idea. And that was really nice, the ending part between his dad and him, talking basically 4,000 years past each other, sort of idea, or 3,500 years, and the difference. It was really nice. But yeah, the other thing that I read this week that I thought we could talk about, Kishin, if you read it, was the one shot by Bocce of Romanor Zoro falls into the sea. If you happen to catch that one. It was a pretty much Bocce did chapter 51 of One Piece again. It's a one-shot sort of idea, redrawn by Bocce, and it is absolutely incredible. Of course, he made...
Oh yeah, I haven't read that yet.
No, okay, well, Sunken Rock and Dr. Stone, of course, drawer, mangaka, drew this 45-page epic, and my god, if we could get like the Marineford War drawn like this, it would just be like...
Is it worth a reaction?
I'll be making a video, and that's what I wanted to do. Shameless plugging, of course. I mean, it's my own channel, so it's fine. That I am going to be doing a reaction to this, not a behind the bar review, because it is already a chapter everybody is already familiar with, but I will be doing a review of it in my office and stuff, and I'll be posting that probably Sunday, if not Monday. I'll be showcasing that because I feel like it's worth talking about the artwork and everything. Some of the panels, of course, very similar because it's redrawing basically the same chapter, but it's just done in the Sunken Rock style, and some of those panels are just gorgeous to see. I mean, we all love Oda, we all love his artwork and his story, but I could see myself falling in love completely with a story done completely in this art style, a story this good done in this art style. And it's something I'm missing a little bit from from Dr. Stone, is the fact that it's not a battle shonen manga. It's shonen, but it's not battle oriented. And I feel like I really want to see Bocce start drawing like Sunken Rock, even though it wasn't shonen. It was very it was because it was so R-rated. But it was very fighter-esque. It was very mafia and fists and blood. And we see that I think he misses it a little bit, because I really want to see him. I need to see him draw something like this on a consistent basis. I need him to draw me the next One Piece, the next Toriko, the next Bleach. I need him to be the one. I don't care if he's the writer, if he can't come up with any good ideas. You get someone like Oda or someone like that, or Kubo or something, making the story. And though I love Kubo artwork, so
or how about a combo? Like, get all these, legendary writer mangaka, and then like they find an artist that really has it, a talent, and then just flood into it with all the ideas that they like, it wasn't enough to make a story around, and then just have, like, even if it's a shorter series, that would be awesome.
It absolutely could be. I would always like to see. Apparently, this is a one shot, but it's a like a mini series, because We're also going to get another one shot by a new artist redoing a One Piece chapter. By the end of this, that's what they claim, anyways. So this was the first up was Bocce. So I wonder who will be next. But no, I would love to see a collaboration between two like really great people. Like I'd love to see Bocce meets Kubo or Kubo meets Oda or anything like that. Or I always forget the name of the Toriko writer, but Toriko.
Yeah, me too.
Toriko meets Oda or something. Which of course they're friends and stuff, right? So that is entirely.
They did have that crossover.
They did have that crossover, exactly. So I really want to see something like that because right now I feel like even though I follow, of course, and we were talking about this before, Kishin, like I follow One Piece, Dr. Stone, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and stuff, but none of these are the big three anymore. The big one right now. Dr. Stone might be great. My Hero Academia might be on the rise and popular. Same with Black Clover. And Samurai 8 might be done by Kishimoto. But at the end of the day, none of these are touching the. I need my big four back. I need something worthwhile. Like even though I didn't like Naruto, I would take a bad apple out of four amazing apples. You know, sort of idea. Like whereas I remember 10 years ago you would read Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, Toriko, all in the same every week. Like we were spoiled rotten 10 years ago, and now I feel like we've. Where's my new Bleach? Where's my new Toriko? I need that. I need that, and then they can stand alongside One Piece once again, and then we can have the next generation of Big Four because this is not it. Chainsaw Man, Samurai 8, My Hero Academia, Dr. Stone. This isn't it. They're good, but they're not great. They need to. I shouldn't even say that. They are still great, but they're not Big Three material. They need to.
Yeah, some of them are still too early in their conception to be, really judged on that same scale. Because, I mean, heck, it was just Chainsaw Man you mentioned. It just hit 31 chapters.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot to that world that could be very interesting, but it's like, until at least 100 chapters in, that kind of stuff a lot of times doesn't happen in any manga.
No, of course not. And maybe I'm being a little harsh, but I feel like we've had a long enough time since Toriko and Bleach and Naruto all ended, and the ones to pick up, nobody has yet picked up that slack, shall I say. What made manga and anime popular in the West, which was the big three, nothing's been picked up since that has had that level of popularity yet, at least for me.
If I remember right, I think the whole big three concept was a Western invention.
Yes, it was, because they were the popular ones that came over here, and of course the big three is a reference to World War II with Russia, Britain with Winston Churchill, Joseph Stalin, and Eisenhower or Roosevelt. I forget which one met.
It would be Roosevelt.
Roosevelt, that was it.
Eisenhower wasn't until the 50s.
That's right. So they all met, and that was the meeting of the big three, because they were the big three superpowers. They were like, okay, we have to take out Hitler. And that was the big thing, right? So the concept of the big three, of course, is very much in the Western culture. And so when the mangas came over and the animes came over and we got our Naruto and our One Piece and our Bleach and everything, and manga became on the rise, it wasn't just Sailor Moon, Pokemon, and Digimon anymore. We had actual English dubs of the most popular mangas and animes coming over here in properly done, not crappy English dubs, but good English dubs. We hadn't seen something like that since, something that was done well, like Escaflowne or Inuyasha. But once again, those things were on the rise, while those were the mangas and the animes that were the stepping stones. And then once Naruto took over, and Bleach took over, and One Piece actually got Funimation dub, I mean, that was just a floodgates of anime popularity here in the West. So all I'm saying is that I'm not saying we need another big wave. Anime is already popular enough, but I want that level of quality anime back, if that makes sense. Yeah.
It does.
I don't get why we can't have like, maybe it's the art style, maybe it's the characters, maybe it's the story, but it should be so simple to do. Like Fairy Tail at the beginning felt like that was on the rise, when it was good. And I was like, okay, we might be seeing a semblance of a new one. And then it fell flat again. There's nothing wrong with doing the classic battle shonen. And I feel like every current manga is trying to be a little too smart. That's just me. My Hero Academia, for me, has too much Western influence. And things like Promised Neverland are trying to be too out there. They're not a battle shonen. They're not simplistic. So maybe I'm just a simple guy and that's all I want. I mean, One Piece has shown that it has so much depth in its story and its characters. You can make a grand story for over 1,000 chapters soon out of a simple concept, just world build. So, if Kubo would come out with Bleach Part 2, I would jump on that really quick, So.
I mean, given what we saw in that one shot, it's like it already shows a world building that we had no idea. So it would work well.
Exactly.
We saw the East for the Soul Society. Let's see the Western side of it,
Exactly. I would be totally fine with following something like that, And it was a shame that Toriko ended as well because they had a whole nother arc planned with them going to space. And
yeah, it was such a weird way to end the series. It felt like it could go on indefinitely,
Unfortunately, they decided to can it, which is weird because it was super popular. So, but yeah, I just really, really hope that that we get something on that level once again. I'm not hoping for a huge boom or anything, but I just, because it's already popular, as I said, but I miss having something that I'm as excited for as I am One Piece. Like, put it to you this way, a few months ago, I would read the One Piece chapter at work on my break when it dropped. Like, I'd wake up in the morning, of course, because I'm in a very bad time zone for releases. Wake up in the morning, read One Piece, read Shokugeki no Soma, and I was content with not reading Black Clover, My Hero Academia, Dr. Stone, any of that stuff, until I got home. I could wait, it's fine. I had better things to do on my break and my lunch hour. I wasn't, rushing to get that information. Like, I needed to know. And, I wanted to read Bleach and Toriko and One Piece the moment it came out. So, I just feel like we need those series back. We need something to that level once again. And once again, everyone, that's my personal opinion. I know Richard in here is saying that, like, oh, it doesn't.
I don't know if I'm hyping it.
Yeah, it's not a battle shonen, so I mean it can't be good and stuff. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I still need my battle shonen. You can have all the Death Note super smart series in the world, but once in a while, I still want to see the Avengers movie. I still want to watch a superhero movie once in a while.
You want to see some knuckles on some faces.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with wanting to see a battle shonen once in a while, too. And right now, since Black Clover's only okay, and My Hero Academia has way too much Western influence for me to enjoy, I miss seeing a couple of dudes go at it with some samurai swords. Even bring me a more realistic story with, like, Rirona Kenshin or something like that. With some super-powered swordsmen, but still in the realm of the world, right? I don't need over-the-top Dragon Ball Z explosions. I just need another a new Bleach, a new Toriko to go alongside my One Piece. That's all I need. Not that I can't enjoy these other stories. So, but anyways, Kishin, why don't you move on to the next one?
Alrighty. Way of the House Husband again. Another simple chapter, as they typically all are. It's mostly just self-contained plots. This one revolves around boba tea. That where they put like the little balls of stuff in the tea, and then you just drink it. Our man Tatsu, he gets contacted by this man who I can't quite remember his name. I don't even know if he actually has a name, to be honest. He's just a guy that runs like a food stand out of the back of a Volkswagen uh, bus, and he's just kind of like I like there's this new trend going on. It's like the crepes ain't selling like they used to. I need your help. It's like I need to get that next big thing to gain some popularity back.
Udon. Yeah. Yeah, like if you and I were to draw a manga tomorrow based in Japan, what would we do? Our hangout place for our characters would be a ramen shop or something simple, just to make it easy, right? Because that's our limited knowledge of Japanese cuisine, what logically, you know? I'll double check the stream. Just so you guys know, if you hear some noises in the background, my brother and his woman are heading over at some point, so I have to kind of clean up while I'm on this podcast. So just to make it look semi decent. No, I have still live. Okay, it's been the same stream status as the whole time. So um, sorry, Richard, for not responding to all your messages, but I'm not. I'm not here to read the. I'm sure the hate I'm getting from bad mouthing Promise Neverland or something. I get bad mouth Naruto, Boruto, and Attack on Titan to really make piss people off. Yeah, actually, I got a new guy. Sorry if you're not in the stream. My guy got a new subscriber called the Dark Knight, I believe, something XX with numbers and stuff. Anyway, he's been commenting on a lot of my reviews. Shout out to you, dude. Thanks for following play on the video itself. Is Kishin talking? Kishin is talking. That is facts. Can you hear Kishin now?
Better?
Okay, that's true. I can't hear you now, Kishin.
Weird. I had been talking, and apparently, but it wasn't audible.
Okay. Well, it's working. I don't know what's going on. But anyways,
I think I actually heard myself in the stream, so I think it's good now.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as it's good.
But yeah, to just kind of finish up, that was about where it ends. It, they make tapioca milk tea. It doesn't sell well until more, gangsters show up, and that was the chapter, just making milk tea.
Well,
but that's just how this series is. It takes like the most mundane kind of activities, but it puts like this spin because he was part of the underworld,
Mm-hmm.
And it's only because he got married, he went straight, and yeah, now he just lives the life of a house husband.
And that's, I guess, a thing.
Like I said, it's a kind of humor that's sometimes a little overplayed with how, like, the way he acts. I mean, but it's still funny. It's just I sometimes wish he wouldn't play it up as much. Yeah, but it's not a bad series overall.
Right.
Anyway, I'll let you take over.
I don't really have any other series. I didn't really read anything else this week. This week was short for me. There was no Akatsuki no Yona. There was no Kingdom. There was no Shokeki no Soma. And there was nothing else other than that one shot, which I promoted here, to really talk about. That Immortal Gods one didn't come out either. The one that I did catch up with Kishin. So.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
what have you been thinking about it then?
I'm upset that Adam died. I think I really want him to like come back, sort of idea, because I thought that like Adam should have been the first win in my opinion. Wait,
what? I don't remember an Adam. I feel like there's a misconnect somewhere.
The one where they're battling the gods versus humans.
Oh, yeah. It's like, sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So I'm kind of upset that Adam is gone, and especially since this is supposed to be the whole realm of gods, and we see all the gods. We see the Norse gods, Egyptian gods, Hindu gods, Japanese gods. We've seen all the gods, right? Greek gods, but there was and we even saw like Lucifer, the god, like Satan, but we didn't see God. Like Christian God. We haven't seen him yet. And
maybe he'll be the final round.
He could be, but he's the one who actually created like Adam and gave him the God's eyes that actually went toe to toe with Zeus.
Oh, so you would think it would have been a better matchup?
Yeah, I literally think that like God would not allow Adam to die, sort of idea or something like that. I don't know. I just expected more. So I was just disappointed. But I am happy to see. I can't pronounce that Japanese name, but Mr. Badass, the ultimate loser himself, going toe to toe with Poseidon like that. I think it's really really cool.
Kojiro.
Yeah, Kojiro. Yeah, and I mean I know a lot of the names that go along with that. and all the fighters that he fought and all the different dojos and stuff, and his legacy and stuff. I'm just very bad with Japanese names, guys, but don't get me wrong. I do follow quite a few of the legends and stuff in building of my own stories and series. So he is definitely a name that's come up before, and I think he's awesome, and I think his character's awesome, and I think that Poseidon needs. If Zeus didn't lose, Poseidon gotta lose, man. I need Poseidon to goddamn lose. We can't have 3-0 for the gods, because if we do, then what the hell is the goddamn point of the series? All we're showcasing is what we knew already. The gods are way stronger than humans. Like, we already had, like, the ultimate Chinese dude. We already had Adam himself, the very first human. And then with the god's eye. And then we had, now we have the ultimate, like, the greatest swordsman of all time. If he...
Mitch, what did you think about his new weapon?
Oh, I love it. I love it. The double... I love dual wielding. I just want to say that right now for those of you who don't know. I love dual wielding in... I don't care what it is. Video games, manga, comic books, movies. I don't care. Dual wielding is always the way to win.
I think Dark Knight Wing XL that you mentioned earlier. He's in the chat right now.
Oh, yo. Yeah, man. I already gave you a shout out, so this video will be posted later. But I did shout out to you and your comments and your subscription and stuff. So, yeah, welcome to the live stream. So, but anyways, yeah. So, I mean, I thought it was really good and everything. But I'm looking forward to. I think it's released when in 2 more weeks. The next chapter.
I have no idea. It's one of those kinds of series that, like, there for a while it wasn't updating as regularly. So
yeah, exactly. So but anyways, that's really I got nothing else, man. So why don't you take it away with the next couple?
Well, I think this is one that you can contribute a little bit. It's Boruto.
Okay.
It came out yesterday.
I tell you what. You talk about Boruto for about I'll give you about 2 minutes. I'll go grab a drink so I can hopefully not vomit, and it'll help me. The acidity will keep my stomach from churning, and then I'll give you my 30-second highlights. How about we do that, Kishin? Take it away, Kishin.
I guess I can hold that. Let's see. Basically, this chapter revolved around Kawaki and, like, more of his little interactions with the family and everything. He's still trying to fix that damn vase, which at this point, it's like, get some damn clay and either just make a new vase or plug that hole, because it's like one little fragment. We get to see some interactions in the village, like Inu, Sakura with Sarada at the flower shop. Ino will play a role in the chapter because she senses something. Really, I'm just going to be all over the place with this chapter. It's just whatever popped in my head. The Koji, he's still there. He's surveilling the house.
Is that Emo Kid Part 2?
What? Kawaki?
Yeah, sure.
He's really not emo. If anything, he's just like
he's got half of his hair chopped off on one side and he's got piercings. Sorry, dude. Emo.
Well, I mean, if do you know about his backstory?
Yeah, I know. And honestly, with Kishimoto's art style, he can't make anything seem tragic other than dry as death. So, everything else he's ever done for 700 plus chapters of Naruto and Boruto has not really got me in the feels. I should feel bad for a lot of characters in this series and their tragic backstories, but I just don't.
Yeah, I guess. I still enjoy the series. Like, I like the cool things that it does. The art style is appealing, which, if the art style is not appealing, it's hard for me to look at it for any period of time.
Which between
Uh,
you and me, of course, and that's one of the big reasons I can't get into Naruto and Kishimoto's work in general, same with Samurai 8. I don't think the art style is very good. I don't.
hmm.
It doesn't resonate with me. I'm not appealed by it in any stretch.
Well,
And I,
he's not the one doing the art. That's part of it.
well, there's
So,
the yeah, there's
so if
that.
you didn't like Naruto, you weren't gonna like the basically whoever does the Boruto manga. Like
Yeah,
it's his art style, but then it's a knockoff of, which was a knockoff of Kishimoto's to begin with. But
right,
then Samurai 8 is a knockoff of the Boruto art style, and so you're
exactly.
just getting knockoffs of knockoffs, and it's
And I don't get why people are knocking off a bad art style to begin with. Like, if you're gonna knock off an art style, wouldn't you like follow like I don't know what people praise as some of the better ones, like Murata or Bochi or somebody like that, or even in my opinion Kubo, which makes like Bleach look so much better than Naruto. I don't even give a shit about power scaling or anything like that. Ichigo looks way cooler than Naruto in any manga panel, and all the characters look cooler than the Naruto characters. It just, so why wouldn't you try to copy a
it's
better?
probably just knocking off of the really popular ones, the ones that
Probably.
everybody knows. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, maybe it's the art style that people like. No, they like the characters, they like the action. The art style enhances all of these qualities. So, but if all you're doing is copying one aspect, you aren't going to have an award winner.
No, not at all.
So, but yeah, the chapter, not a great deal happened in it. I hate to say, which for a monthly series, you kind of hope for more. It was mostly just, like small interactions kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Naruto taking out the trash, which he's the Hokage. Why is he taking out his own trash? But you know, it
Mm-hmm.
just shows that he's from humble beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
The mention earlier about the flower pot that Kawaki is still trying to fix.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was Himawari's present to Hinata. That's why it's so important. He smashed it when he flipped the table over like some chapters ago. So
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
he, and it's just kind of been like his redeeming act. It's like, oh, I don't want her to hate me, kind of deal. And it's like I'm living here. I gotta stay on everyone's good side. They seem to be nice people. I shouldn't have flipped the table in the house of the people who are letting me stay here.
Mm-hmm.
That one, that's confusing. I have a question. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he hasn't commented on this or anything, so I don't know where you're getting that from, Richard. Uh, but yeah, the bit at the well, you've seen the mark on his hand and everything, right?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
the karma and all that stuff. Well, he Kawaki got a different one, which is actually
Okay.
alluded to in the previous chapter because what's his name? Jigen.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's kind of revealed that he's part of the Uber clan, as it were. The Osusuki,
Right.
or at least he has some kind of connection to them.
Right.
He basically turned into one of them last month. So it's like, what? Why is this a thing? Which there's some interesting bits to like, okay, that one jutsu that Tsunade used, and now Sakura can use it with the little diamond mark on
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
foreheads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the it apparently goes all the or at least the symbol goes all the way back to the Sage of Six Paths, who created ninjutsu. So it's like, okay, so is basically all of this shit connected? Is karma connected to this? Now that we kind of know where at least the origins of karma is coming from, which is presumably Jigen. We see nobody else able to pass it on to other people but him.
Right.
So, and now he has this connection with like the the original ninja clan, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a thing that I'm like, I don't know exactly what it's going to do. Maybe they'll find like a back door, as it were, to maybe like turn karma off or to remove it
Mm-hmm.
using Tsunade's jutsu. I don't know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just it's like when you look at like a seal or something and like you start breaking it down and then you start seeing the components that make it, you know, not so much the regeneration is the point that you're going to reverse or not.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's something like that. It's just but anyway, we see Koji, he's surveilling the house as I mentioned, and yeah, the chapter kind of ends with a bit of a bang because everyone starts sensing something. The seal on Kawaki's hand starts to form a portal, and everyone's basically rushing to the house, or
Mm-hmm.
we're going to. But then Naruto like contacted Ino, or she contacted him, and it's like, "Is everything okay?" And he's like, "Don't worry, I've got this under control." Because Jigen has appeared in the house.
Oh.
So yeah, so Mr. Big Bad has appeared. He takes out Naruto by putting like those, those chakra rod kind of deals. He seems to be able to produce those. So he pinned Naruto down to the ground, and but Naruto, breaks out of it. All he has to do is like go full like Biju mode, and yeah, it seems to be that there's probably going to be a bit of an altercation between the two dads, as it were, which I'm kind of intrigued to see how well that goes.
Right.
Bad dad versus not so bad dad.
Yeah. Yeah. See how it all ends up.
And Kawaki has even like obtained like a new form of transformation or another stage of it. So the whole comparison of another emo character is kind of well placed because you know how like when Sasuke would gain more uh changes to his curse mark transformations.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what Kawaki's doing. He gained a horn in this chapter.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, Naruto comes in. They're going to fight, presumably, next chapter. And that was the bulk of it.
I see. Well, all I can say is that the fact of the matter is that everyone who's telling me Naruto is goddamn god tier and moon planet busting tier, shut the fuck up because if he's like I've read Boruto manga and he fought with a wannabe pseudo Terminator and he struggled. So the fact that he can't just bang done means he's not god tier. He cannot fight Goku. He cannot fight Ichigo. He cannot fight these people. At the end of Naruto, you can make that argument, but ever since I've saw Boruto, I realized Naruto is not that strong. He was touted to be that strong, but he's not. He's not shown to be. So that's my take on it.
Well, see,
Um,
this goes into the thing that, and this is what Richard wanted me to talk about to bash the anime and all the other stuff. The anime still hasn't even gotten to where the manga is
mhm,
or where it started,
mhm.
which is weird to me. Like, I got about five or so episodes in, and then I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be because it's mostly just he hasn't even graduated yet, which is kind of weird, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
see, I've
sure,
I've never watched the anime. Just so we're clear, I've only saw the. Just so everyone on the stream and in future videos is clear, I generally don't even watch animes. Like I don't even watch the One Piece anime or anything. I follow the mangas. I used to be an anime only guy. Then I went manga only, and I only watch anime very very rarely. So, but that
well, but see, that's what I'm mostly the same way. I prefer to just stay as up to date as I can and just read the manga. You know,
mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm.
coming straight from the source.
It's the
You don't
canon
have to
source.
wait sometimes years or maybe a decade at most for an adaptation to it that
Yeah.
may not even be that good and it may be canceled after the first season, never to be seen again.
And Dark Nightwing XL says the anime has no emotions, referring to Boruto. So that could be true. Don't get me wrong. Kishin and I are not saying that animes cannot be good. Of course, there's plenty of good animes out there and a lot of adaptations, just that neither Kishin nor I. Like right now, I am doing reviews of the Dr. Stone anime as it comes out. But I personally am not doing anything. I don't keep up with a lot of them. So even if Boruto and stuff like that, is out, I probably have never seen it. So that being said, Kishin, sorry to cut you off short, man, but we're gonna have to wrap this up quite soon because I've already pushed off my brother and his girlfriend long enough.
Oh.
So
Well, that's fine. We can always cover whatever in the next one. There's
yeah.
only one major series that was, and that would just be Dragon Ball Super. But Prison Break, basically, Moro, his final wish was revealed. It was to free the prisoners in the prison that he was freed from.
Mm-hmm.
All that good stuff. Also, Vegeta is planning to go to Planet Yardrat, which is the place that where Goku learned the instant transmission.
Oh, so maybe Vegeta will finally learn instant transmission. That'd be really
Yeah.
cool. I'm good with that. Yeah, no, I did not check out that latest chapter, but it sounds pretty exciting, Kishin. And don't get me wrong, we have a few minutes now, so you can talk about anything else that's really quick. I did want to mention that Dark Nightwing also said, "Did you watch Hunter x Hunter?" Yes, not the whole thing. Watch some of it. Think it is good. Have not caught up with the manga. That's my response. Okay.
Oh Lord, trying to catch up with that manga is ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
just wall of text now.
Oh, I know. I tried to catch up on a couple chapters, and I was like, "This is reading a novel." So, I am not caught up with Hunter x Hunter, but
Yeah.
I have watched a fair amount of the anime, not the whole thing, but it's a good series. It's a good series. So yeah, Keishan, Dragon Ball Super. Anything else you want to bring up on that, or any highlights from any other manga you read this week? We have a few minutes now, so.
I learned that there's a thing called a bicorn.
Okay. Are we reading?
That,
Did you read Toriko or something? Like, what's a
no,
bicorn?
no, but like this is more of like traditional kind of Dungeons and Dragon monsters. It's from Dungeon Mushi or Food Dungeon or Dungeon Food is
Sounds cool.
the normally how the name is translated.
Okay.
It's about these travelers that go down into this dungeon that used to be a kingdom. So it's all just the giant centerpiece castle, and it just goes underground. And it's been that way for, or like, or the kingdom was from like 1,000 years ago, all that stuff. You have your typical like human explorer kind of dude, he's a soldier. You have a dwarf who does all the cooking. You have a kind of a uppity elf character and a halfling who does all their lock picking and whatnot needs. They're trying to save the soldier's sister who was turned into a monster after a altercation in the dungeon earlier in the series. That's the main plot of it. And they basically just survive on things that they find in the dungeon. The
Mm-hmm.
whole point of the thing is that you're learning how to cook all these various dungeon cuisines, like all the monsters, the various plants and such. And it's interesting. And they needed food, and they found a bicorn, which apparently is the opposite of a unicorn in their universe, where like positivity and everything draws in a unicorn,
Mm-hmm.
but it's negative stuff that draws in a bicorn.
Like a dark unicorn. Cool, cool. I like it.
And it just has the two horns, almost like not goat horns, but like maybe antelope kind of horns on it. And they got the halfling who supposedly cheated on his wife.
Okay.
They were like, "Hey, it's like you go and attract it," and
Yeah, one
it's
of
like
those.
you find out he actually didn't.
Yeah.
But then the thing like still was somewhat connected to him. They were like trying to do all the seven deadly sins to try and draw its attention towards them so they could kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when they finally got the halfling in there, it's like, okay, it's like lust, and his arm gets broken because the thing bites him.
Jesus.
uh,
That sounds pretty awful,
yeah.
honestly.
It,
Um,
it the face it made, I'll show you a picture of it after the stream. But yeah, you just find out that he's not exactly the character that they presumably thought he was. Like he still has like tendencies of like trying to stay away from like certain things because he's cautious. I mean, he's like half the height of everybody else, so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's just how his species kind of is. But I just like that this is like Dungeons and Dragons meets Toriko in a way, because you know how preparing food and everything was the whole core of that series. This is that.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
So if you like Toriko, you probably would like this series.
Yeah,
So I'll send you a link
yeah,
later.
you'll have to send me a link to that because that is literally what I was complaining about half an hour, 35 minutes ago is that I need that type of thing. Maybe that's why I filled my shoes with Shokugeki no Soma. I feel like I just need a food manga to follow. I mean, food is just awesome. So, um, that being said, DBS manga is pretty good now, says Dark Nightwing. Yes, yes, it is. I always thought that the manga was good. I thought Dragon Ball Super, the anime, the only reason that it was kind of bad was because the animation quality. For something that can make an movie worth almost as much as an Avengers fucking movie in an hour and a half, for some reason they can't animate a goddamn episode. I don't know why. It's terrible what happened to Dragon Ball Super in the animation quality, considering it literally One Piece might be the most popular and sold the most volumes, but you can get more money on the Dragon Ball name. I would think
It does have quite the legacy.
it has exactly the legacy alone should have been able to buy them far better, more time, and better animation. It should have been able to,
Well, they were like on a 6 week production
which they
for
shouldn't have
every
been.
episode.
That's my thing. They shouldn't have been. They should have had months before that to prepare, to
Yeah.
pre, and get ahead of the
To
game.
pre.
Yeah. So to pre.
I'm thinking of a Game Grumps. If you watched that,
No, I haven't.
it was a joke there for a while, but I won't get into that now.
Yeah. All right. Well, so anyways, everyone, sorry to cut this a little short on Kishin's end, but we covered most of our major mangas anyways, and some of the ones that were a little more minor mangas. This has been the weekly Manga Roundup podcast with myself, Griever, and...
Kishin Prime.
Yeah, so like, comment, and subscribe below, guys. It's always really much appreciated. And remember to follow both of our channels. Links to Kishin Prime's channel is in the description down below. And we will, of course, be doing live stream number 5 next week, following the next week's set of manga on Kishin Prime's channel. So don't forget to check into there if you checked into this one.
Look out for that more on Sunday, because
right.
I'm busy. So.
Right, exactly. We're going to be pushing the next one to Sunday, of course. That's not a big deal, but yeah, so just make sure to check out Kishin Prime's channel and be sure to do that. And yeah, so like, comment, subscribe to both channels, the podcast, all that good shit. Drink responsibly as always. This has been Griever with the weekly manga roundup alongside of Kishin Prime. Say goodbye, Kishin.
Roll out!